Aho shinawana honata. Aho shinawana. Hey, Walking Crow for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. For the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine, that's it and that's all. Aho. Happy Warrior Wednesday. It's Warrior Wednesday. Are you a warrior for yourself? Are you a warrior in spirit? Are you a warrior not at war internally? Are you a warrior not at war externally? Do you live in the quiet peace and the safety of your soul? Because you can, you do, and you will. Aho. Do you share that with others? I tried to the best of my ability to share that with others. Aho. But saying that, yesterday I had an interaction where I failed miserably. And I've been having the conversation about that ever since, but I'm going to let it go because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We only have to show up and make the effort. We don't have to be right. We don't have to be perfect. We're not necessarily wrong. We're just sometimes off center. The word sin means to miss the mark. So yesterday I missed the mark, and hi human. Aho, hi human. The human part of me has to forgive myself, and that's what I'm going to do. So today is not only Warrior Wednesday, today is the first day of the dreaded Mercury in retrograde. Woo! All the woo-woos are running around and making chicken little out of chicken shit out of chicken little, and it's Mercury retrograde, and I got a flat tire, and my computer's not working, and this is happening, and that's happening, and they're allowing their mind to suck them up into the drama of the trauma of the drama. Do you know how to rescue yourself from the trauma of the drama and the drama of the trauma? Take time to inhale and take a long exhale and release what's bugging you. That bug that's up your you-know-what. Let it go. There's no reason to be up in arms as the spiritual warrior on Warrior Wednesday about Mercury in retrograde. Now, I'm going to tell you how I view Mercury in retrograde, because I hear all the rhetoric and all the nonsense, and I pay no attention to that. And long ago in my teachings, I would say, don't be somebody who turns Chicken Little into chicken shit. And I say that jokingly, but it's serious, because you watch people running around and they're worried and they're wondering, and what's going to happen? Well, what's going to happen? What's not going to happen? Who cares? Who cares? It's only Wednesday. Aho, aho. So, saying that, so I look at life like living in a fishbowl. Right? And they talk about Mercury in retrograde, and they talk about Mercury seemingly slows down. It slows down and it moves backwards. Well, I use that as the example in this way to do something different for myself. And I'm going to teach you and tell you what I do, so maybe you'll not turn Chicken Little into chicken shit. Is fair enough? Fair enough. Okay, so with that example of Mercury slowing down and seemingly to move backwards, what I do as my Mercury, aho, and I believe Mercury was a warrior, wasn't he? Am I right with that? Somebody could tell me yes or no with that. Mercury was a warrior, a war god or something. Am I correct? I don't know. That's what I hear out there someplace. So that being the case, when I'm in my fishbowl of life and I'm in the water, the fishbowl holds a container of water, emotion, direction of the west, direction of the ocean, emotion, EMOCEAN. And things are getting a little uncomfortable. Things are getting a little hard. Things are getting a little tough. And I don't know which way to go. What I do is I step out of the fishbowl, backwards out of the fishbowl like Mercury, and I look into the fishbowl to see what things really look like from the outside. From outside my fishbowl. I look at it, I take a look and see how I want to move forward, or how I can move forward if I can, or if I can, or if I need to take a different direction, a different approach, a different tact. And I look, and when the observer is through observing, I re-enter the fishbowl and I start to swim forward again, in that circle, a clockwise, the energetic clockwise, or counterclockwise, of the energetic movement. So don't make yourself crazy about things you have no control over. Allow yourself to have control over your behavior, over your stinking thinking. Carry a rattle. Do I have one here? I have one right here. Carry a rattle. And when you begin to become erratic, use your rattle for your erratic behavior, and rattle and clear the monkey mind, the static energy, and the voices. What you should be listening to is the voice, the one true voice, the still small voice that lives here, that hears here, that listens here. HEAR, here. Listen here, not HERE. This is where all the confusion happens. This up here in the ethers, nothing happens in the ethers. So allow yourself to live in the fishbowl of your emotion, the fishbowl of your soul, the fishbowl of your life. And only look at a few inches ahead of the time, a few feet ahead of the time, and don't look backwards. Fishbowl has clarity. The water has clarity. The only thing in the fishbowl is me and maybe a little castle and some rocks and some fake plastic plants in the water. That's it. Nothing's happening. Nothing's real. It's all imagined. We make up story. Just like the story of my computer's broken. It's Mercury retrograde. My girlfriend broke up with me. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. All the don'ts. When do you do? How do you do? Well, step out of the fishbowl, and then you step back in and proceed slowly. Walk, don't run. There's no hurry for anything in this world. This world has got itself in a big hurry. We have cell phones to make our life easier, and it distracts us and slows us down. We have computers to make our life easier, and they distract us and they slow us down. All these things to make our life simpler make things difficult, or we allow things to become difficult, and those things then control us. I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous years ago, and for those of you who don't know, I don't ingest anything into my body that isn't food or water or nutrition or whatnot. The only thing that I take in is a ceremonial tobacco, and that doesn't go into my lungs. That goes in, and I blow that so I can see the prayers rise when I'm praying, when I'm in ceremony, when I'm offering. So, 31 years of sobriety, and over the years of sobriety in Alcoholics Anonymous, I would sit there and listen to people, wah, 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 and I'd whine and complain and go on about nothing. It's something to them, but it was nothing to me, because I was like, what's the problem here? And what the problem was there is they were the problem there, right? I'm not being mean. I'm just pointing out the problem, because I knew when I was a problem, and I didn't have a problem going and seeking out help from my then sponsor, who was very wise, and he would make fun of me all the time. He would say, "Hi, human," when I would be complaining, or he would say, "Oh well, it's only Wednesday," and I would get so ticked off about all that stuff, and then I had to learn how to laugh at myself, So sometimes I'm sarcastic because things are funny. Serious events can be pretty funny, and we have to learn how to laugh at ourselves. We have to learn how to cry with ourselves. We have to learn how to get angry, be angry, and let go of the anger. Otherwise, it's going to eat us alive. It's going to eat our brain. It's going to be eating our cells in the brain. Then it eats away at our heart. Then it eats away at our life. Aho. Cancers. Aho. Aho. So, I would sit in those meetings, and what I heard one day, this was before I was a walking crow. I was anywhere near what I do now. And I heard this voice say, listen to the still small voice. Do not listen to the voices. Listen for the still small voice. Oh, and I heard that, and I took that in because this is where I heard it. This is where my ears are. And I didn't know it at the time, which was probably about 10 or 15 years ago or longer. But I was carrying that message forward when I stepped into my medicine. And thank you, Sammy Joe Tucker, represented as a god of war. Yeah, right? I'm not a god and I'm not a war god, but I do in my own life sometimes because of the instability of my behavior at one time. I was at war with myself, So I heard, listen to the still small voice, not the voices. And I carried that into my medicine life 10, 15 years later. And now it's 20, 25 years later. And here I am carrying that same message. And I'm proud of myself for holding on to that message. Funny, Joni, hello. Sammy Joe, you guys are both here today, and you guys are in the same part of town. Thank you for checking in. I miss you guys. Haven't talked to you guys for a long time. And you know what? Today isn't Mercury in retrograde. It's only Wednesday. And there's no reason to walk. There's no reason to run. It's okay to walk. Now, today was unusual for me, but because I got up today and I made a drum, I rebirthed that drum, that tree, and I wasn't crazy about the way it came out, but we'll see how that goes. And then I did something because I met with my editor yesterday. I have an editor, and I'm in the process of doing something which you all will find out later this year more about, and and you can probably guess what it is. And I don't have anything to teach people really. I only talk about how I got from point A to point B, simply. So today I got up, and my friend Angela, she suggested that I record my songs in studio on GarageBand. And this morning I got up and I recorded 4 of the songs, and I did some rewrites in my manuscript that's being worked on. And and then a friend of mine, Angie, from down in Florence, Arizona, down in Pinal County, she reached out and wanted to take me to lunch with a friend of hers, a neighbor of hers, and we went to lunch, and she bought a drum, and I took a nap when I got home, and it's been a full day, and it's only 5:51. Oh, and 5:51 is 11, the gateway, duality, number 2, the gateway. We pass through the gateway. Are you ready? Oishino, oishino, oishino. Are you ready to pass through the gateway to the next thing, to the next, not challenge, to the next opportunity? Aho, aho. I quoted myself last week, 2 weeks ago, and I said about fear. Fear is not your obstacle. Fear is your opportunity. That came out of this person. That came out of this soul, this body, this spirit. Aho, aho. From the ancient ones, from the gods, from the guides, from the animal spirits. Aho. I honor them, and I say what they ask me to say. Everything that I teach, everything that I talk about comes from them. But it sounds sometimes like it's original to you, and it may be, but it comes from them. And I'm blessed and honored that they would see me as a wise person to say the things that I say. Right? Right. So the still small voice. Not the distilled small voice, AA. That's my way of poking fun at that. Distilled small voice, the still small voice. And I listen to that, and there are days that I sit in bed 3 to an hour, 4 hours, sometimes sipping my coffee and listening to what they have to say. I'm in no hurry for a flurry, and in no flurry for a hurry. My life doesn't have urgency. Should it? Could it? Would it? Possibly. But I already did that in the first half of my lifetime, the first 52 years of the lifetimes, the duality of my life. I'm in the second half as an elder, and I live differently. Everything that happened in the first half of my life, the first 52 years of that part of the duality, became the stepping stones of my teachings and my healing of myself and helping others to get to point B. All we simply do is share how we got from point A to point B, and that's it, and that's all. So don't get too ruffled with your feathers about Mercury in retrograde. Don't ruffle your feathers about it, because usually what you're doing is parroting others. And in this world, I notice that parrots, parrots, and they don't say anything original. I say a lot of original stuff because I parrot nobody. Aho, aho. And, and you might catch me doing that someday. I don't know. I might quote somebody, but it's rare that I quote somebody else other than Walking Crow. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming. Enjoy the Mercury in retrograde. Be still and know that Creator is. That's what you need to know about Mercury in retrograde. Be still and know that Creator is. All is well, as long as you let yourself know that. Aho, aho. My name is Walking Crow, and this is the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. As a matter of fact, I am the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.